priorities. Chris, I'm going to start with you. Top priority for Quest Software this year.
So our priority this year, and as in years past and the years to come, will always be the securing and hardening of our customers' infrastructures. And what I mean by that is infrastructure is not automatic, but it does require automation. It is not simple, but it needs to be simple. So we spend a lot of time with our customers, helping them get through exactly one, how do we automate security efficiently? How do we avoid script kiddie type mistakes, for instance? How do we avoid blowing away an OU within an infrastructure and losing access for all our remote users? So I help our customers understand exactly what they need to do to basically secure that infrastructure, whether it's at the identity layer or the application layer, for instance, or some other service layer, and then start to think about exactly what you can do further on to harden those platforms. What I mean by that is there was a recent report about Lightspin that said 46% of AWS buckets are unsecured. Then 42% of those had unsecured objects or misconfigured objects, for instance. What that really means is, think of the Capital One breach, for instance, where Capital One forgot to configure a bucket and then they wanted to blame AWS. And there's this blame game, and you have to understand, they give you infrastructure, and that's what we help our customers understand. Like, this is your infrastructure. What are you doing to secure it, for instance? So we help them understand exactly, one, who has privileged access, who has access to certain data. You know, one of the things that I think Sean realizes in his environment too is, like, as you modernize, you have all these data structures underneath those, and Nick knows this too as well. Who has access to all those underlying data structures, and where does that data go? And do you understand your data or information pipeline? We help our customers do that. But one of the key things, our priorities around this year, are helping them understand what those identities are doing across all those layers, across all those data stacks, for instance, especially the privileged users, the ones who can do the most damage, like, I won't mention any more names, the ones that can actually leak information, for instance, or cause the most damage to your infrastructure. And we focus on helping them understand, what are those individuals doing, for instance, and be able to report back and control that in an automated fashion to give you not just security, but the best type of zero trust based security in the industry. And that's our top priority. The last priority, I'll say, is we are super hyper focused on secure supply chains. No one's already talked about that, and we're not talking about that today, but that's something that we need to focus on too as well. If we don't focus on a secure supply chain, especially your software vendors, I think we've done a great job with hardware, but software, there's a lot of porous in our software supply chains. And we've worked really hard as a company to make sure that we can deliver to the federal government software that meets those requirements that laid out in executive orders.
And we really